Hi all. Today, this will be the end product. So far you have your primaries done. We're going to put in a secondary, namely secondary is going to be violet, and we're also going to include a tertiary, which is red-violet. Hopefully you have all of these labeled on the outside so you don't get any of your colors messed up. One thing I should make note of here, the red that I'm using, that I used originally, I should say, was more on the orange side, so I switched up red. I switched it to more of a red. And so you probably will see that it'll really stand out at the very end of my color wheel. Once you guys get started, make sure you have the correct colors and that you don't make the mistake that I did. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start off with our secondary color, and what the secondary color we want to do is violet. And the two pencils I need to do my violet are going to be red and blue. Okay, so what I want to do here is a layering process like you guys have all learned before, and I'm going to start off with a base coat of red. And at the beginning I do kind of this scumbling where I'm doing real short strokes. You'll see later on in this where I had my blue pencil and it had something going on and it actually scratched my paper. So just kind of be careful of that. If you notice that it's not putting down real good color, what you want to do is take an extra piece of paper and just kind of clean that off. I sped it up here a little bit just so you could see me getting the base down the base of red. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring my blue in on top of that red, and you can see I'm coloring the whole entire section. If you remember, on the very outside is going to be a real hard pressure, in the middle's light pressure, and then near the very centers where we actually combine two colors to create a complement that will change the intensity of this color. So right now I'm just layering the blue on top of the red, and this is a process that I actually will do and then redo. I'll come back in with the red, and then I'll go over it again with the blue, and I'll just keep alternating and layering these colors until I get a violet that I'm pretty happy with. Again, just kind of very delicately putting it in, light pressure in the center, hard pressure on the outside. I'm going to speed it up here a little bit. Again, I'm using the blue, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to do a little bit more with the red. And you can kind of see where some of that, where I got a little too carried away with the blue and I actually scratched my paper. If you notice that going on, you want to stop and clean that pencil off a little bit. Okay, now as I'm doing this, I got to step back and look at it occasionally and see if it is getting too red, in which case I'll need to come in and put another blue layer on top of that. And in my opinion, that's what it did, so I come back in with some blue and I added some blue on top of that. Again, it's a layering process. And you might wonder why we don't use just a violet colored pencil. Well, it's part of learning color theory. We want to be able to mix our colors, and we want to be able to do it with different types of media, such as colored pencils, such as tempera paint, watercolor, the same thing. So for this, we really want to learn how to mix our colors and blend our colors with the technique of a colored pencil. You can see on the outside right now what I'm doing is I'm using heavy pressure or hard pressure to get more of an intense color. And I think I even need to do that a little bit more in the middle section as well, which you'll see me pull that up here in just 1 minute. But again, this is not only about color, but this is also about learning the technique of layering hard pressure, light pressure with a colored pencil. So it's about as much about technique as it is color theory. Okay, now what I want to do is I'm going to add the complement, and the complement of violet is yellow. So in this case, I really only need my yellow pencil to layer over top of that violet. Now, once I do this, I found that my color was a little bit too yellow. So what I had to do is I came in here with some more red and some more blue to get that back to kind of a dulled down violet or a darker violet. And I just keep layering that process. I keep doing the layering process until I'm pretty happy with it. And what I'm trying to achieve here is a dull violet or a dull purple. Okay, at this point I have my low intensity violet, I have my light pressure violet, and I have my hard pressure violet. Now what I want to do is I'm going to begin doing my tertiary color, or my intermediate color, which in this case is red violet. I'm going to start by laying down a base color of the red, very similar to what I did with the violet, only this time I'm going to put the red on a little bit thicker. These two sections took me about 20 minutes, and that's about the time I want you to spend on your daily lessons. After I did my red violet, I came back in and I put blue on top of the red that I laid down first. And then after I did the blue, I came back in and I put some more red on top. Now what I want to get here is I want to get a color that's in between my red and my violet. And that's what I'm kind of working on now. Just getting another layer of red on here. Now, I kind of thought that it needed a little bit more blue, so I brought some more blue in on top of that, if that's what you saw right there. Now, I'm going to finish up here by putting in that low intensity section on the red violet. Now, you need your color wheel labeled because when you look, the complement of red violet is yellow green. So I start off with a pretty heavy coat of yellow, and then I'm going to come in what makes green, blue and yellow. So I'm going to start off with yellow, and then I'm going to add blue on top of it. And remember, what you would want to use to make the complement of red violet is yellow green. So I'm coming in and I'm changing the intensity of that red. Okay, and I continue this process to where I'm getting and layering until I'm getting a pretty dull red violet. Almost done here. And what you want to do is occasionally step back and see how the color looks in the spectrum. Is it fitting in between the primary and the secondary color? Okay. The same thing with the violet color. Is it fitting in between the red and the blue? Okay. And sometimes you have to go in and make adjustments, layer a little bit more blue, layer a little bit more red. It's a process. It's a process that you'll learn as you go. Okay, we'll talk to you later, guys. See you in part 4 in a few minutes.